So one time I was driving back from Escondido and I was coming into town and there was this old man walking, and I'd seen the old man before at Pepe's, this market in town, when I was getting some tortillas. And I'd seen him before and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy he's got a long way to walk if that's where he's going." Um So I pulled over to the side, and as he walked closer to the car, I pulled down my window and I asked him if he wanted to ride. And he said yes. And then he told me where he was going, and it was the market where I'd seen him before. So I was like, "Oh yeah, like I can take you," and so I took him, and then he went inside, and he was like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "Thank you so much." And then he went inside, and he was trying to pay me, but I told him no, like it's okay. And excuse me. He went inside and did his shopping, and then uh, I could have left, but I didn't because I was kind of like, I'm not gonna give him a ride here and not offer him a ride back. Oh, at least me, like that's just like who I am. So I was like, I'll just wait till he comes out. And so he did. He came back out, and you know, I offered him, because well, he came up to the window and he was like, "Well, you wouldn't, be so kind enough to do me the favor." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I actually would." So then he got in the car and I drove him, and I thought where I picked him up, like he was he lived like close around there, but so I drove to where I like picked him up down that road, and I was expecting him to be like, "Oh, just drop me off like over here," but then he was like, "Oh no, turn into the street." And I've never been down that street, and I was like, "Okay," so I turned on that street, and the street looked pretty long, and then I was like, "Oh, okay," I was like, so, and then I just kept driving, and then he's like, "Oh, you're gonna turn a left here," and then I took a left, and then I was like, it was a very swervy road, but then it was like in the mountains where it was like small little hills. But I was like, yo, this is nowhere near anywhere I recognize. And then he's like, and then I told him, I was like, "Oh, are we close?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." He's like, "We're almost there." And I think I drove for like another 5 minutes, and I was just like, "Oh, like." I was like, "Oh, like this, I must be close, right?" Because I was like, "This is taking too long." And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Pull up over here, make a right here." And the dude lived in the middle of like the mountains, like in a little trailer. Like there were houses around, but those houses themselves, like compared to where the road was and where the town was, or where town is, it was pretty far away. Um, and he got out, and I was like, okay. I was just like, I didn't care if he gave me money. At that point, I just wanted him to get out, and I wanted to get out there because I was like, yo, I don't have a knife in the car. I was like, I don't have anything uh, to protect myself in case I'm about to get robbed or kidnapped or something. But then he got out and he took his stuff with him, and I know I feel so bad for thinking that at the moment, but it's just one of those incidents where you get yourself in a situation, you're just like, oh god, like why did I do this? And then you start thinking the worst. But then he got out, and then he came around my window, and then he was like, "Oh, like let me get your number." And I was just like, "Oh." I was like, "Oh yeah, sure." And he's like, "Yeah, in case like I'm ever in town and I might need the favor again." He's like, "I'll give you money," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah," I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And then I gave him a number, but it wasn't mine. I was not gonna give him my number. Um, and then he offered. He's like, "Hey, you don't need like well in our culture we call them sobadores, which are like healers. They kind of just like rub on your body when you're sick. They like find pressure points like around your body and they pop them, and then you get all better somehow. I don't know how that works, but he was like, "Oh yeah, like if you ever need to like be like, I guess, like right, gets rubbed on or a massage. I don't know how. I can't think of the wording right now, but he was like, yeah, if you ever need that, like if you ever pull something, or he's like, yeah, he's like, just call me. He's like, you can come here, you can come pick me up. I can go to where you live, and I was just like, oh yeah, like. But it was just so weird because you went from like, oh, it was just something like, oh yeah, for sure, to like, I need to get out of here. I was like, this is not what I envisioned. Um, and then he just like slowly walked away. He didn't even say goodbye. He was just like, yeah, just if you need a call. And then he walked away, and then I pulled out of there and I drove off, and I didn't even know how to get back. I really, like, while I was driving there, I was just like, what am I gonna do? Where am I going? So I wasn't really paying attention. But then I got back out on the road, and then I drove home. And I came home, and my mom was like, "Where were you?" Because I was coming back from school, and I just told her, and she's like, "You're such an idiot." She's like, "You could have been, you could have been robbed." This, and that, and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I know." I was like, "But I didn't." But yeah, it was. I don't know why. I just remembered that. It was strange. Probably because I saw someone earlier. But yeah, I don't know if you're still listening, but if you are, thank you.